Toys ruled your childhood mornings, but what if your favorite heroes disappeared, erased by time? Which shows promised epic adventures, sold millions of action figures, and vanished without a trace? Today, we're uncovering 15 forgotten 1980s cartoons that shaped imaginations, and why they died before you could truly love them. Each one hides secrets in plain sight, bizarre plots, daring designs, and toys that defined a generation. By the end, you'll see why some worlds were never meant to survive. Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, 1985. A galaxy on the brink of collapse, a young hero named Jace and a team of rebel warriors racing in high-tech vehicles to stop the evil monster minds. This was Saturday morning epicness with a toy line to match. Every episode pushed futuristic battles and moral lessons. But the toys were what kids remembered: transforming vehicles, detachable weapons, and collectible figures that promised endless adventures in the living room. Despite its ambitious storytelling and memorable theme, the series struggled to compete with bigger franchises, fading quietly from TV schedules. Today, Jace exists mostly as a nostalgic whisper, a glimpse of a universe that could have rivaled He-Man but was lost to syndication battles and shifting toy markets. Fans still remember the thrill of opening a new wheeled warrior figure, imagining the battles that never made it to screen. Its blend of science fiction and heroic fantasy was ahead of its time, making the series feel both familiar and eerily forgotten. Visionaries, Knights of the Magical Light, 1987. A kingdom torn between light and darkness, on armed knights with holographic staffs, and a story straddling futuristic tech and ancient magic. Each figure in the toy line projected images of creatures and symbols, a mind-blowing gimmick that captivated kids but couldn't save the series from confusing storytelling. Visionaries promised epic heroics, betrayal, and intrigue, yet viewers struggled to follow its dual-genre narrative. Today, collectors revere it for its holographic toys and neon armor, but the cartoon itself remains a faded jewel, an ambitious show overshadowed by simpler, louder franchises. Its mix of magic and tech created imaginative battles, but the intricate lore proved too heavy for casual audiences. Only those who remember pressing the hologram buttons on their action figures can truly appreciate the genius buried under the cartoon's obscure fate. And Bravestar, 1987. A space western like no other, Bravestar fused futuristic law enforcement with Native American mysticism. Marshal Bravestar and his companions patrolled the wild planet of New Texas, facing crime lords, robotic henchmen, and alien outlaws. The toy line mirrored this strange hybrid, offering figures with justice powers and weapons to match each adventure. Its ambition was unmatched, but the complex lore made casual viewers feel lost, and its short run sealed its fate in cartoon obscurity. Today, Bravestar exists as a cult memory, remembered for its striking concept, bold animation, and imaginative toys, yet largely forgotten in the shadow of flashier 1980s franchises. The sense of law, honor, and cosmic justice still resonates, on leaving a small but devoted audience longing for a revival that never came. M.A.S.K, 1985. High-speed chases, hidden gadgets, and secret identities, M.A.S.K, motorized action special kits, combined a crime-fighting team with vehicles that transformed into weaponized machines. Every episode was a collision of slick animation and toy-driven spectacle. Kids could replicate the action with transforming cars, helicopters, and masks that activated powers. The stakes were high in each mission, from daring rescues to ambushes on evil syndicate Venom, but the cartoon's true allure was the toys themselves. Despite moderate ratings, M.A.S.K carved a lasting niche among collectors who still recall pressing buttons to launch miniature missiles or flipping levers to reveal hidden compartments. The show's blend of spy thriller excitement, cartoon heroics, and intricate playsets made it more than a commercial. It was an imaginative playground for children whose bedrooms became battlegrounds. Yet in the shadow of Transformers and G.I. Joe, M.A.S.K. slowly faded from memory, leaving behind a loyal cult who treasure the gadgets, daring plots, and the feeling of piloting a miniature hero through impossible missions. It's a reminder that in the 1980s, adventure and plastic often went hand in hand, and some worlds were meant to be remembered only in nostalgia-soaked daydreams. Inhumanoids, 1986. Buried beneath the earth, something monstrous was waiting, and in Inhumanoids, that terror finally rose to the surface. Unlike most 1980s cartoons, this series leaned heavily into horror, introducing gigantic underground creatures like Decompose and Metlar, whose designs were far more disturbing than anything typically aimed at children. But behind the nightmare fuel was a very deliberate purpose: toys. The action figures were massive, grotesque, and interactive, some with detachable parts, others designed to trap smaller figures inside their bodies. Kids weren't just playing heroes, they were staging battles against creatures that looked like they belonged in a horror film. The cartoon itself matched that intensity, with dark atmospheres, high-stakes conflicts, and moments that felt genuinely unsettling. And that was the problem. For many parents, it crossed a line. The tone was too intense, the villains too frightening, and the concept too strange to sit comfortably alongside lighter, more colorful shows of the era. As a result, Inhumanoids struggled to maintain a broad audience and quickly faded from television. Yet for those who experienced it, the memory never quite disappeared. It was the cartoon that felt forbidden, the toys that seemed a little too real, and the battles that carried a sense of danger missing from its competitors. Today, Inhumanoids stands as one of the most unusual entries of the decade, a toy-driven series that dared to embrace fear, only to be buried by the very intensity that made it unforgettable. The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, 1986. The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers was a daring attempt to combine space opera, Western motifs, and morally complex storytelling in a Saturday morning cartoon. On a frontier world at the edge of the galaxy, a team of elite lawmen, each equipped with cybernetic implants, took on outlaws, aliens, and intergalactic conspiracies. The cybernetic enhancements weren't just for show. They gave the Rangers superhuman strength, enhanced reflexes, and unique powers, all mirrored in the toy line. Figures came with removable gear, secret compartments, and futuristic gadgets, allowing children to recreate battles and missions in their living rooms. Episodes often explored darker themes, including betrayal, personal sacrifice, and moral dilemmas, giving the series a surprisingly adult tone for young viewers. Its animation blended traditional Western aesthetics with futuristic sci-fi design, creating a unique visual identity that stood apart from flashier contemporaries. Despite its ambition, Galaxy Rangers struggled to gain traction, overshadowed by simpler, more commercialized cartoons that emphasized loud action over layered storytelling. Yet for collectors and nostalgic fans, the series remains a hidden gem. The toys, detailed, functional, and imaginative, captured the spirit of the show, letting fans feel like they were part of high-stakes galactic missions. Today, The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers endures as a testament to 1980s creativity, in offering a universe where young viewers were treated as intelligent participants, capable of following complex plots while dreaming of heroic exploits. It's a reminder that sometimes the most inventive worlds are the ones that vanish from mainstream memory, leaving only cherished toys and vivid childhood memories behind. Starcom, the U.S. Space Force, 1987. Starcom, the U.S. Space Force, was a bold attempt to merge military strategy, futuristic science fiction, and collectible toys into a single Saturday morning spectacle. Set in a future Earth under siege by alien invaders, the series introduced a fully militarized space force with transforming vehicles, highly detailed action figures, and futuristic gadgets that mirrored the show's complex narrative. Each toy encouraged children to memorize intricate equipment names, on vehicle specifications, and faction power systems, creating an immersive experience that blurred the line between play and education. Episodes were dense with military jargon, high-stakes battles, and strategic maneuvers, giving the series an unusual sophistication for a children's cartoon. While visually impressive and filled with imaginative technology, Starcom's emphasis on toys over storytelling left casual viewers struggling to follow plots, limiting its appeal and contributing to its obscurity. Today, Starcom is remembered primarily among collectors who admire the ambitious toy designs and the meticulous world-building. Its complexity, which once alienated young audiences, now makes it a fascinating artifact of 1980s merchandising, illustrating how a cartoon could exist almost entirely to sell plastic soldiers while still offering a surprisingly detailed and immersive universe. Despite fading from mainstream consciousness, Starcom remains a cult favorite, a reminder that some of the most inventive, mechanically sophisticated shows were also the ones most likely to be forgotten by history, leaving only the toys and imagination to preserve their legacy. Robotech, 1986. Robotech was an ambitious science fiction adventure that combined giant interlocking transforming robots with a dark, almost cinematic tone unusual for children's programming. Set on the distant planet Skylor, rival factions, the Protectants and the Terracors, battled for survival in an alien landscape, with each faction represented by action figures designed to interlock and form massive robotic warriors. The toys were complex engineering marvels, with modular pieces, intricate joints, and detachable weapons that allowed children to recreate battles in vivid detail. Episodes often explored themes of loyalty, betrayal, and survival, giving Robotech an emotional weight rarely seen in Saturday morning cartoons. Yet, despite impressive animation and toy line sophistication, the series struggled with storytelling clarity. Dense plots and heavy emphasis on merchandising left casual viewers disengaged, and Robotech faded into obscurity. Fans who remember it, however, recall the thrill of building massive robots from smaller figures, imagining sprawling galactic wars, and projecting cinematic battles across living rooms. Robotech perfectly captures the 1980s paradox: creativity and ambition in animation paired with a relentless drive to sell toys, often at the expense of narrative accessibility. Today, it is a cult favorite among collectors and nostalgia seekers who appreciate the ingenuity of the toy line and the audacity of a show that dared to be darker, more intricate, and mechanically sophisticated than almost any of its contemporaries. Robotech remains a testament to the era's willingness to blend play, storytelling, and imagination, even if the mainstream audience overlooked it. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, 1987. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs combined space western aesthetics with futuristic sci-fi adventure, presenting a universe where cowboys met starships and high-stakes heroics clashed with intergalactic villainy. A Saber Rider led a team of elite sheriffs against the Outriders, a ruthless gang of spacefaring criminals intent on conquest. The toy line mirrored the show's adventurous spirit, articulated figures with interactive weapons, transforming vehicles, and modular ships encouraged imaginative play, allowing children to stage epic space battles at home. The series' visual style blended rugged Western motifs with sleek futuristic designs, giving it a distinctive look that stood out from contemporaries. Storytelling, however, could be convoluted. Episodes featured complex plot lines with political intrigue, villainous schemes, and shifting alliances, sometimes leaving casual viewers behind. Despite these challenges, Saber Rider cultivated a devoted following. Collectors today still cherish the toys, the imaginative universe, and the unique fusion of genres that made the series feel both cinematic and interactive. Its ambition was clear: to create a world where heroics, strategy, and high-tech gadgetry could coexist. Though it never achieved mainstream dominance, Saber Rider remains a remarkable example of 1980s cartoon creativity, a series that dared to push the boundaries of genre, offering both toys and storytelling that inspired fans to envision expansive intergalactic adventures beyond the television screen. Trollkins, 1980-36. Trollkins emerged from the creative minds behind the Smurfs, presenting a whimsical universe inhabited by small, troll-like creatures living in the eccentric town of Trolltown. At first glance, it seemed like a simple, light-hearted cartoon filled with quirky humor, colorful characters, and gentle moral lessons. But underneath its playful surface, Trollkins was heavily tied to a line of collectible toys, vehicles, troll figures with vibrant hair, and accessories that invited children to reimagine adventures beyond the screen. Episodes often balanced humor with fantasy, but the show's storytelling was secondary to its merchandising strategy. The short-run and crowded Saturday morning schedule meant Trollkins quickly faded from public consciousness, leaving only scattered memories and collectible toys as evidence of its existence. Yet for those who experienced it firsthand, Trollkins offered charm, imagination, and a sense of wonder. Winding roads, miniature troll villages, and imaginative play that blurred the line between television and interactive adventure. The series exemplifies the 1980s tendency to prioritize toy lines over narrative, yet it also showcases creativity, character design, and whimsical storytelling. Today, Trollkins is largely forgotten outside collector circles, yet it endures in the minds of those who remember its miniature world, the tactile joy of the toys, and the subtle fantasy that once brought a small town of trolls to life in living rooms across the nation. Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines, 1985. Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines presented an absurd yet compelling hybrid of monster mythos, high-octane racing, and toy-driven storytelling. The titular Bigfoot, yes, the legendary monster, led a team of muscle-powered trucks and daring drivers in a universe where road races could escalate into epic stunts and vehicular combat. The toy line reflected the show's wild energy: oversized vehicles with giant wheels, flame decals, spring-loaded gimmicks, and interactive features that allowed children to recreate daring road battles in their own homes. Each episode featured chaotic stunts, high-speed confrontations, and heroic teamwork. Yet the series' quirky premise prevented it from anchoring a mainstream audience already loyal to larger franchises like Transformers and He-Man. Its charm lay in the ridiculousness: monsters driving trucks, gadgets exploding mid-race, and imaginative battles where speed and strategy combined in fantastical ways. Today, Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines survives mostly in the memories of collectors and 1980s fans who recall the thrill of zooming vehicles across living room carpets, staging near misses, and imagining impossible victories. While obscure in pop culture history, it is remembered fondly for its audacity, creativity, and sheer fun. It stands as a testament to a time when cartoon premises could be strange, toys could be outrageous, and imagination was the ultimate vehicle for storytelling. Pole Position, 1984. Pole Position was more than a cartoon. It was an adrenaline-fueled racing adventure inspired by the hit arcade game that dominated arcades in the early 1980s. On screen, the series followed elite drivers piloting high-tech racing machines while outsmarting a parade of persistent villains who always seemed to be one step ahead. Every episode delivered high-speed chases, near-miss collisions, and dramatic stunts, creating an atmosphere of tension and excitement unusual for Saturday morning programming. The show's toy line mirrored the on-screen thrills: miniature cars with spring-loaded gimmicks, racers with removable helmets, and elaborate tracks that allowed children to recreate high-octane battles in their own bedrooms. Each toy promised the chance to perform stunts, overtake rivals, and stage daring escapes, bridging the gap between screen action and hands-on play. Yet, despite its excitement and kinetic energy, Pole Position struggled with episodic storytelling and character depth, leaving it overshadowed by more fantastical, imaginative cartoons of the era. Its plots often felt repetitive, and while fans appreciated the speed and thrill, the series lacked the enduring narrative hooks that could cement long-term popularity. Still, for those who grew up with it, on pole position left a lasting impression: the rush of toy cars speeding across living room carpets, the thrill of imagining near-fatal crashes avoided by fractions of a second, and the subtle sense that racing could be as epic and emotionally engaging as superhero battles. Today, it exists primarily in the memories of those who experienced its frantic pace firsthand, a fleeting yet unforgettable piece of 1980s Saturday morning culture where speed, strategy, and imagination collided in miniature form. Rambo, The Force of Freedom, 1986. In 1986, John Rambo, already a household name from the blockbuster action films, was transformed into a Saturday morning cartoon hero in Rambo, The Force of Freedom. The series promised epic missions, global threats, and heroic action. But it was more than just a tie-in. It was a toy-driven universe, complete with action figures equipped with realistic weapons, vehicles, and interactive gadgets. Each figure invited kids to stage cinematic battles in their living rooms, turning ordinary playtime into high-stakes military campaigns. Yet, despite the star power and sophisticated toys, the show struggled to find a lasting audience. Its darker tone and overtly militaristic themes clashed with other colorful comedic cartoons of the era, making it feel unusually serious for young viewers. Unlike mainstream Transformers or He-Man, the series lacked broad syndication and was overshadowed by the sheer cultural presence of the films it was based on, leaving it mostly forgotten outside nostalgic collectors. Fans who remember it recall the thrill of staging daring raids, imagining covert missions and strategizing with intricate vehicles that mirrored the show's episodes. The show's ambition to merge cinematic spectacle, toy interactivity, and moral lessons was ahead of its time, yet it couldn't overcome the challenge of translating adult action into a Saturday morning format. Today, Rambo, The Force of Freedom exists as a curious relic of 1980s toy-based animation, a series that promised adventure, intensity, and interactive fun, but slipped quietly into obscurity, preserved only in fading VHS tapes, collectible figures, and the memories of those who once wielded plastic weapons in heroic play. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, 1987. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future was a bold, hybrid of live action and animation that brought futuristic warfare directly into living rooms. Set in a post-apocalyptic 21st century, the series followed Captain Jonathan Power and his elite squad fighting the evil Lord Dredd. Each character's powers and weapons were faithfully translated into an innovative toy line, featuring interactive action figures, motorized vehicles, and modular playsets that let kids simulate battles with light and sound effects. The show was darker and more serious than typical cartoons, exploring themes of sacrifice, strategy, and rebellion against tyranny, which made it unusually cinematic for its target audience. Episodes blended suspense, fast-paced skirmishes, and high-tech gadgetry, creating a sense of realism and stakes rarely seen in children's programming. Yet its complexity and heavy reliance on merchandising limited its mainstream appeal, leaving it largely forgotten outside fan and collector circles. For those who experienced it, the series offered an immersive universe where imagination merged with tactical play. Kids could stage missions, command squads, and strategize against Lord Dredd's forces, blurring the line between screen action and toy interaction. Captain Power stands as a testament to 1980s ambition, a cartoon that dared to be serious, dark, and interactive, yet vanished from popular memory, surviving only through the tactile thrill of its toys and the nostalgia of fans who remember fighting futuristic battles, one action figure at a time. Silverhawks, 1986. Above a metallic, half-human world, the Silverhawks, a team of cyborg heroes battled the sinister Monstar and his band of outlaws, blending science fiction, space opera, and heroic mythos in a visually striking animated series. Every character's design translated directly into action figures, detachable wings, spring-loaded weapons, and armor that gleamed like the show's futuristic cities. Each toy captured the excitement of aerial combat, allowing children to recreate epic battles and heroic rescues in their own bedrooms. The series' cinematic tension was remarkable for its time. Betrayal, strategic space confrontations, and the looming threat of villainous domination lent each episode a sense of high stakes rarely seen in children's programming. Yet, despite its ambition, Silverhawks was overshadowed by louder, more aggressively marketed franchises like He-Man and Transformers. Syndication was limited, and the show's sophisticated tone may have been too advanced for its target audience, leaving it almost entirely forgotten outside dedicated collector circles. Those who remember it recall the thrill of pressing buttons to launch miniature rockets, the imagination required to orchestrate aerial dogfights, and the artistry of a cartoon universe that dared to combine heroic sacrifice with futuristic spectacle. Silverhawks stands as a testament to 1980s ambition, a visually dazzling, toy-driven show that elevated its merchandise into storytelling, offering an unforgettable experience to the few who witnessed its brilliance, and quietly vanishing from mainstream memory like a star fading from a neon sky.